not like they have to practice. It's not like they have to make themselves go pick the guitar up and practice. That's not going to be somebody who's ever going to turn out to be a professional.
Her voice is unmistakable, pure, technically flawless, a voice so versatile it could inhabit any genre and make it sacred. But Linda Ronstadt didn't just have talent. She had standards, exacting standards. And when musicians violated those standards through arrogance, disrespect, or creative dishonesty, she cut them out of her life with surgical precision. Now she's finally naming the 5 musicians whose fundamental approach to artistry conflicted so severely with her own that collaboration became impossible. These aren't just feuds. They're collisions between someone who believed music was sacred and artists who treated it like a commodity. Welcome to the untold story of Linda Ronstadt's most bitter professional betrayals. Subscribe to learn why one of music's greatest voices walked away from potentially legendary collaborations. Because sometimes saying no is the most powerful choice an artist can make. Don Henley, the climber who lost his soul. Don Henley built his career partly because Linda Ronstadt took a chance on him. She saw potential. She advocated for him. She gave him opportunities most musicians never get. But what Linda didn't realize was that Henley was using her, not just professionally, personally. According to industry insiders, Henley began dropping Linda's name to access venues and connections he couldn't reach on his own. He was leveraging her credibility, her connections, her legacy for his own advancement. When Linda discovered this, something broke inside her. But the real betrayal came later. Henley built massive success and never acknowledged Linda's role in his early career. No gratitude, no recognition. Just the silence of someone who'd used what they needed and discarded the rest. Linda reportedly told friends, "He's a climber who lost his soul chasing fame." That statement captured everything she despised about his approach, the transformation of genuine connection into strategic exploitation. They never worked together again, and Linda made sure the music industry understood why. Neil Young, the false revolutionary with a cruel streak. Neil Young positioned himself as a revolutionary, an uncompromising artist devoted to truth. Linda respected that, initially, but when they worked together, the facade crumbled. Young would dismiss Linda's artistic input without listening. He rejected her song suggestions. He blocked her from performing certain pieces. He criticized her sound as too commercial. All of this delivered with the smugness of someone convinced his vision was the only valid one. The breaking point came after a performance. Young told the press that Linda wasn't built for protest music. That statement was calculated cruelty disguised as artistic criticism. It was a public diminishment of her credibility, her legitimacy, her voice. Linda left the collaboration in tears, and she never forgave him. Years later, she described Young as the embodiment of faux moralism, loud in message but cruel in execution. That assessment cut deeper than anger could ever reach. It was disillusionment from someone who'd expected better. Frank Zappa, the genius who confused arrogance with artistry. Frank Zappa had undeniable talent. Linda respected his innovation, but when they stepped into the studio together, she encountered someone fundamentally different from who she'd expected. A man who believed genius gave him permission to be cruel. Zappa dismissed her creative suggestions with a smirk. He called her sound too sanitized. He accused her of trying to turn his music into a radio jingle. Each comment was designed to diminish her, to establish his superiority, to make clear that her input didn't matter. During a live rehearsal, Zappa stopped the band mid-song and said loud enough for everyone to hear, "This is what happens when you let commercial singers near real music." The humiliation was intentional. The message was clear. You don't belong here. Linda walked away from that session and never returned. She understood something crucial. Genius doesn't excuse cruelty. Talent doesn't justify disrespect. And for Ronstadt, who'd spent her career elevating every collaboration she touched, working with someone who viewed her as an obstacle was impossible. David Crosby, the ego disguised as friendship. David Crosby and Linda shared the Laurel Canyon circles in the early 1970s. They had harmony together, but Crosby's drug-fueled paranoia and his growing ego made collaboration increasingly hostile. During a recording session in 1978, Linda requested a simple key change. One adjustment that would better suit her voice. It was a basic, reasonable request. But Crosby refused. He told her to adapt, as if her voice didn't matter, as if she was just another instrument to be forced into his vision. Linda pushed back. The disagreement escalated into a public shouting match that made the rounds in industry gossip columns. But worse was what came after. Crosby made snide remarks about her in Rolling Stone, calling her career manufactured by studio heads. It was a public attack on her legitimacy, her artistry, her entire legacy. Linda responded by cutting all ties. She forbade anyone in her band from collaborating with Crosby. The message was absolute. You're done. Paul Simon, the perfectionist who mistook control for collaboration. On paper, Linda Ronstadt and Paul Simon were a dream collaboration, two voices of uncommon quality and sophistication. But the studio revealed something disturbing. Simon's commitment to perfection had curdled into obsessive control. From the first rehearsal, Simon nitpicked her delivery. He interrupted takes to correct phrasing that didn't need fixing. He rewrote lyrics without consulting her. He offered unsolicited vocal advice. Every interaction conveyed the same message. My vision is correct. Your input is irrelevant. The collaboration became a slow-burning nightmare. What should have been exciting became suffocating. Linda felt herself being stifled. Her independence, her creative voice, her agency, all of it was being subsumed into Simon's vision. The track was never finished. The duet never happened. And Linda made a decision. No matter how tempting future collaborations might be, she wouldn't work with Paul Simon again. Because respect matters more than opportunity. The pattern. What all five reveal is that Linda Ronstadt's hatred wasn't born from competition or ego. It was born from the fundamental violation of artistic respect. Henley used her connection. Young dismissed her input. Zappa humiliated her. Crosby refused her basic request. Simon absorbed her into his vision. Each musician failed at something Linda considered sacred, treating collaboration as a genuine dialogue between equals. Instead, they treated it as an opportunity to establish dominance. And Linda's response was always the same. She walked away. Not publicly, not dramatically, just quietly, permanently removing those people from her world. Because for someone as serious about music as Linda Ronstadt, disrespect wasn't a minor injury. It was reason for permanent separation. At this stage of her life, Linda has built a legacy on the collaborations she chose, with artists who understood that her voice deserved to be heard, her input deserved to be respected, her artistry deserved to be honored. The five on this list learned something crucial. Linda Ronstadt doesn't need you. Her voice is powerful enough to stand alone. And if you disrespect that voice, she'll simply move forward without you. Forever. Subscribe for more untold stories about how legends protect their artistry by knowing exactly who to say no to. Because sometimes the most powerful statement an artist can make is simply walking away.